Dear Andrei, Mr. President, dear Dubravka, dear Zeljana, dear Carlo, and dear friends from the European Parliament, from the group. Dear friends, I'm happy to be back in Zagreb today. My first trip, Andrei mentioned it, as new elected EPP party president goes to one of our EPP strongholds. It is Croatia and it is the HDZ, and many thanks to your great work in the last years. When I was a young member of the European Parliament, we have had our group study days in Dubrovnik, Dubravka. I was deeply impressed by the memorial center with the pictures of the killed soldiers defending Dubrovnik. I realized how much I was privileged, being born in 1972, grew up in Bavaria in peaceful times, and I felt and I still feel a great respect for your fight, for your country, and the freedom of Croatia. You can be proud about this. My first trip now as party president is also a signal to pay tribute to Croatia and personally also to Andrej Plenković, your president and the prime minister of your proud country. He did such a great work. Croatia is joining now the Euro and the Schengen area soon, and this is a clear proof that with Andrej Plenković as Prime Minister of Croatia, he is really delivering to European success story for Croatia. With you as a leader, HDZ is really striving a strong approach. And I tell you, also Andrej, I tell you, your work and experience are more needed than ever before. That's why I and we count on you. This Congress, dear friends, happens in a very critical moment of time. In Europe, there is war again. As Croatians, you know how it is to be attacked. We all have still the terrible pictures of Vukovar in mind. And you know what it means to fight for freedom and for democracy. When Russian tanks rolled across the border on February 24th, it was not only the territorial integrity and independence of Ukraine that were under attack. It were the principles that Europe holds so dear being threatened. It was a brutal, illegal, unprovoked assault on democracy, freedom and rule of law. Putin wants to rewrite history where spheres of influence exist. An iron curtain are drawn close and where personal liberty and dignity are an inconvenience to the state. He wants to return to a past we had co-signed to the history books. A past where Europe's geographical integrity and Europe's freedom to choose with whom to cooperate and how to integrate is called into question. A past we cannot return to. A past that was already finished when Croatia became independent. A past that cannot allow to become our and Ukraine's future. Ukrainians, as every European, want to be free. Free to vote as they choose. Free to dissent as they please. Free to speak, to write, to assemble, openly. Free to make their choice about the future. They know what it is at stake. They know what they have to lose. And we don't want to live in a Europe where mothers and children are forced to flee their homes in fear of their lives. I don't want to live in a Europe where Putin rules. I want to live in a free Europe, and that is our common goal and friends. President Zelensky was in the European Parliament. Colleagues were there directly after the beginning of the war, and he was asking us one question. Are we welcomed? Can we become member of the club? Tell us, is it worth to fight, or shall we give up? And I can only say, as a sincere answer from the EPP, Having all our challenges in the enlargement process in mind, I can only say yes. You are welcome. Yes, you can become member of the European Union. It is a long way to go. Nobody is underestimating this. But a candidate status for Ukraine, Republic of Moldova, and also Bosnia-Herzegovina and a lot of countries in the Western Balkans is urgently needed. We support this as European People's Party. And dear friends, spoke about Bosnia-Herzegovina. Timeline also for all countries in the Western Balkans is now needed. We have to be more precise. They need concrete steps. They must feel also welcomed in today's European Union. The Western Balkans are Europe and they need a clear European future. And to make enlargement possible, we have to change to improve Europe. We have to make Europe fit for the challenges of our times. It cannot happen that one single man, for example, Viktor Orban, can block the entire European Union when we want to move on the sanctions. For example, a Europe that can't decide united on foreign policy, even on sanctions, will be a weak Europe in the world. And Europe has to speak with one strong voice. And we must also work on our defense pillar. It is a great news that Sweden and Finland have applied for NATO. Now, our friends, the EPP parties in Finland and Sweden, they always were in favor of this joining the NATO. We will not be intimidated by Putin's arrogance. What would be happen, I ask you, if Trump or a little Trump will come back in the next US presidential elections? As EPP, we fully support NATO. That is the backbone of our security. But Europe has to grow up. Within the NATO, we have to work now to build up a European defense pillar. We must be able to protect the Europeans. Dear friends, serious political times, also Dubravka said it a minute ago, are EPP times. It is not about showing off, but about responsibility, about determination, about concrete ideas for the future. Critical political times are HDZ times. That is right. The very successful government of Andrej Plenković is, for me and for a lot of Europeans, the best proof for this. You have demonstrated for how bravely you managed to come out of the economic turbulences in the last years. For example, you managed to dramatically reduce the youth unemployment here in Croatia. For how the Croatian voice is now a strong voice today, a strong voice in Europe. With you, Croatia is respected, even, I would say, a leading partner in Europe. And how you prepare the future. Many congratulations again to Croatia for now joining the Euro and joining the Schengen area. We need the green light now. It's now the time to do the steps. As HD said, you know that a strong economy is the basis for a strong Croatia. HD said, and the entire EPP stands for jobs, for SME, for entrepreneurs, for workers. HD said makes politics for the many, not only for the few. And HDZ is the best guarantee for a strong Croatia. As HD said, you are a pro-European, a Christian, a liberal, a modern political force that Europe needs so much. You can only have a good future in Europe and in Croatia if we can now create growth again. This also means Europe must be independent and watch out the fierce competence becoming from countries like China. Let's be clear, China wants to rule the world. But not China should rule the world. Europe should make the rules for the future of our global competition. Let's work together as democratic countries in the world. We are representing, as democratic countries, more than 60% of the global GDP. We can drive the future if we are together. And we know that only trade, investment, innovation can provide a good future for our young generation. And dear friends, we also can not only see between France and Germany that Europe is a great peace project, we also can see it in Croatia. It was not the empires like the former Habsburg Empire or something like this that recognized the Croatians' independence and your first fight for, your just fight for the own sovereignty, dear friends. But it was the European community, thus paving the way for other states to do so. And it was not ideology that inspired Croatians' age-old yearning for freedom, but the democratic European values that we today share in the common European home. The HDZ significantly shaped Croatians' path towards freedom. HDZ is well aware that national self-confidence and European integration do not exclude but complement each other. HDZ and EPP together, we are center-right. We unite. We are bridge builders. That is what EPP is all about. That's why we call ourselves the People's Party. We bring them together. Big cities, countryside, young and old, cosmopolitan natives, workers, entrepreneurs, farmers and digital startups, and on European level, most importantly, from east and west, from north and south. And this togetherness is possible because, dear friends, we are standing on a solid ground. If we speak about values, we are attacked by the left in social media for being too conservative, too old, too backward-looking. Nevertheless, I tell you, I don't count. We stick to our heritage. Please imagine, let us fly for one moment over Europe. I bring this picture already several times because I think it is impressive. Let's start in Helsinki, go to Madrid. Let's start in Dublin and go here to Zagreb, dear friends. You will find the different cultures. You will find multiple languages and fantastic food all over Europe. It is colorful Europe. It is good to be a European. However, we all have one thing in common. In every village, in every city, you can find in the middle a Christian church. And that should give us an idea about our foundation. That should give us some face and identity and DNA. We are proud of this and we will defend this DNA for the future. Dear friends, our Christian spirit tells us we do politics together. We are the biggest political family in Europe. Only the EPP group in the European Parliament represents all EU member states. HDZ is in this team a very strong voice. I want to thank first of all the colleagues in the European Parliament. It's Carlo Ressler as head of the national delegation, it's Sukana Glavka, it's Tomislav Sokol, it's Zeljana Sovko as new elected vice president of the group, and on the party side, now elected as vice president of the European People's Party, it's now Dubravka Šuica, and as the boss of everything, it's Andrej Plenković, such a strong voice in the European family, a great team of your friends on European level. Together we are fighting for solutions and not for ideologies. Our role models are not celebrities. Our role models are the SMEs, the entrepreneurs, the nurses, the workers, the shop owners who stand up every day in the morning and work hard. They are the everyday's heroes. They deserve a bright future, and it's for them what we are working for. Today's European Union, dear friends, is our Europe. We started the European integration process. We created the single market. We designed the euro, and we stand for the Europe with a strong voice in the world. We are ready to build a European Union for tomorrow, which is not built on small issues, but believes in the big projects. And there again, I want to thank Dubravka. She has worked as an excellent ambassador on this issue, especially as a leader of the Future of Europe conference in the last month. You are fighting for a democratic and a strong Europe in this process. Croatia can be proud of your work and your excellent work in this format. I'm looking forward to work with you, dear Dubravka, for a very closely cooperation now as elected Vice President of the party. Many congratulations and a big thank you to Dubravka. Our Europe, dear friends, is under attack. The European way of life is at stake. These are serious times. This is the time to fight for our values again. A true center-right is needed. Experience, values, responsibility, a vision for the future. That is our DNA. We need a strong Europe. Europe needs a strong Croatia. Europe needs a strong HDZ. Sretno, usinit, zemo to zajedno. Thank you so much.